The 49ers beat the Colts behind some of the best performances we've seen all season. But here's the problem. How do you pick just one player of the week when so many guys went off on offense? Well, we're here to try to make a compelling argument for all these guys on today's 49K pod.
You're listening to the 49 Carats podcast, a 49ers Goldmine production with Stephanie Sanchez.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another edition of the 49 Carats podcast. I'm your host, Steph. It is Tuesday, December 23rd. Christmas is almost upon us here, but before that, we get to enjoy a Victory Tuesday. We had a Victory Monday and a Victory Tuesday for 49er fans. It's a great, great week if you're a Niners fan. And joined as always, I guess not always, Weston. You let me out to try a couple times, but you were here last week, so you're back now. Weston joining me on a Tuesday. Thank you for being flexible on date, given this is such a busy week. What you got going on this week, Weston?
A whole lot, stuff we were talking about before we even jumped in. We added a new puppy to the family, right? And I got a bunch of family coming over for Christmas Eve tomorrow. Santa will make an appearance. We can talk about that later. It's a big deal in the Smith household. And the 49ers aren't the only one climbing the charts. Your boy has elevated his desk game in his home office, now operating at a standing desk. So fun times, and excited to be here.
Okay, yeah, you're getting some of that lumbar support, getting on your feet. It pays off.
It's funny stuff because I always, I joke with you all the time that I'm just this old man, right? And if I sit down too long, it just gets harder and harder to get up. But yet, yesterday we watched a gentleman 2 years older than me who's a grandpa play quarterback in the National Football League, which is absurd. But, we'll break that down over the next 50 minutes or so.
Yeah, we absolutely will. We'll be getting into a bully ball show after this with Jay and Rob. But before we get into that, we got Weston here, and we're going to do what we always do, usually on Mondays, and we're going to crown 49K Player of the Week. But first, before we get into the individual performances, let's talk about just this win as a whole, Weston, like what this meant. If you're a 49er fan, I was looking at this one with some concern going into it, and my concern was mostly based off of Jonathan Taylor, right? I think that was the biggest thing for me. I felt like, okay, with Phillip Rivers showing what he did the week prior against Seattle, as long as the 49ers can get some pass rush going, I felt like the defense would be able to do enough, and we know how this offense has been working thus far, so I wasn't worried about the offense being able to put up points either. But my biggest concern was Jonathan Taylor, and we barely really heard of Jonathan Taylor yesterday, which is a bit of a surprise. But what was kind of your sense of what this game meant to this team and to us as fans?
It's funny stuff. I think this game went the exact opposite way that I thought it was going to, just from a production standpoint on both sides of the football. We'll talk about that. But I think the biggest thing for me and for 49er fans is Sunday was awesome. I'm actually a quasi root for the Detroit Lions. I have a good buddy who's a diehard Detroit Lion fan who's from Detroit. But in their loss, 49ers automatically get that berth into the playoffs. And we talked about it all week leading up about how Lions lose, we're in. You win, 49ers win on Monday night, they're in. The gap is too large. They cement their spot. So I love that they went in and handled their own business, even though that they were there. For me, that was the biggest piece is not just resting on hey, we're getting into the dance. It's been a successful season. Now the talk is hey, is the 1 seed in play? And the only one way it's in play is you got to win out. Okay, so step 1 of 3 complete, right, in this equation. But so for me, that was the big thing. You handled your own business. You focused on your own task at hand, and you went and got that W on the road in a different time zone on prime time. All awesome stuff. But I still am so perplexed by this football team because the way that I thought they would win the football game is not the way that they won the football game on both sides. And we saw a very strong, powerful running attack from the San Francisco 49ers. I thought we would be hearing – I know the Colts are banged up on the defensive side of the ball, mainly out on the island and the corners, but I thought we'd be hearing a lot of DeForest Buckner and other names, and you didn't hear any of that, right, throughout the entire game. They controlled the line of scrimmage. And then on the flip side, on the defensive side of the ball, I thought their best recipe for success was getting after a 44-year-old quarterback, which they didn't actually do well. They stopped the run game real well, which I never thought was going to be plausible given that offensive line, given the skill set of Jonathan Taylor. So, wow, what a fun game to watch. But it was cool to go into it like pressure off because like what we were all hopeful they would accomplish this year, they did before the game even started. So awesome stuff. And now like the next 2 weeks get really, really exciting. They're potentially looking at 2 primetime games to complete the season, depending upon the meaning of that final Week 18 game against the Seahawks.
Yeah, I think what you said at the beginning there was true, is that, you know, obviously Sunday went really well for the 49ers. They didn't have to lift a finger, and yet, you know, they kind of get into a favorable spot going into this game. And I think Kyle Shanahan even kind of mentioned that in his post-game speech to the team as well. It's like, hey, like, we were in a good spot on Sunday, and yet you guys still came out and performed at such a high level. And I think it just speaks to the current team that, you know, the 49ers have, right? It's been a resilient bunch all year. It's been a pretty focused bunch, and I think that's great heading into this stretch. Like, especially the offense right now, it just feels like they're operating at a high level that we've seen before, and that level is a scary level. And
For sure.
I don't think there's any team in the NFL right now that would look at this 49ers offense and be excited to go up against them, because there's so many threats on that side of the ball. Now, the defense, right? We did mention the Jonathan Taylor thing. I think we're very pleased by that. I think people are forgetting about that because of how good Phillip Rivers did play, especially in the first half. But let's not like forget how big of an accomplishment it was to hold Jonathan Taylor to just 46 yards on the ground. I mean, I know he had a touchdown, but they were at the goal line. I mean, he's going to get that any day, all day. 2.9 yards per carry. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. Exactly. And we were all worried about it because the week prior, like, the 49ers run defense didn't look all that good. They were missing tackles, taking bad angles. So from one week to the next, and I've said it before about this defense, right? And about Robert Saleh, it feels like it's very team game plan specific, what they're going to do, what they're going to focus on. And it was very clear that the plan this week was all hands on deck to stop Jonathan Taylor. We can handle Phillip Rivers and see what he can do, but we're going to force him to beat us. Now, in the first half, he got going. Like, old man looked real good, right? He looked fresh. He looked like a savvy veteran. That arm, not quite what it used to be, but if you're a smart quarterback and you just know where you're going with the football, throwing it with anticipation, and, you know, some of his receivers, especially Alec Pierce, got some really nice routes. I got to give some props to him. He was getting open with some ease. But yeah, I think in the first half, we did kind of see how that played out, right? The emphasis on stopping Jonathan Taylor, but maybe you weren't as ready for what Phillip Rivers was going to do in his second game, right? Yeah. So in the second half, though, Weston, did you feel a shift defensively?
I think so, just a little bit. But here's like the reality. Yeah, like nothing crazy. I was still like concerned because they were just giving up chunk plays in the pass game, like throughout the game. They started to get a little bit more pressure in the second half. I think Saleh found some unique ways to create pressure up the middle and kind of get away from the edge rush. But this is what the 49ers defense is right now. With the lack of players that they have to go into the game and say, we've talked about it, Steph, multiple weeks here. right? Like their job is not to win the football game anymore. Their job is to find 2 or 3 drives that they make stops, right?
Yeah.
Hold them to a field goal, force a punt, get a turnover here or there, and that could be the difference. And the offense is going to be tasked to go win the games. They went all out to stop the run because Jonathan Taylor is their best offensive football player, right? Like you got to sell out and you're going to hang your hat on. Well, if 44-year-old Phillip Rivers beats us, so be it, right? Like there's bigger fish to fry, but it's also an interesting thing to hang your hat on because gosh, if Phillip Rivers did beat the 49ers and it was because of his play, wow, that is quintessential bulletin board material for all other teams to say, yo, grandpa who hasn't played in 5 years just smacked that booty like, slinging the rock. But I think you saw it early in the game, like, all right, he's not going to push this ball downfield. It's going to be all about coming out quick. And then kind of played into the strength of what the 49ers defense does right now is they tackle, right? They're tackling well. They swarm the ball carrier, so keep everything in front. And hope for a mistake along the way, and they got that, But I didn't feel a huge shift in the shift that I felt in the second half was from the offensive side being like, we're going to score every time we touch the ball.
Yeah.
You saw it walking out on the field. Like even the offensive linemen were walking out with a little bit of swagger, like bobbing their heads. Felt like it was like a bunch of KBs out there, like just ready to go. And that's problematic for other defenses. Like you never want an offense to get grooving. And I think they just felt like no matter what, points, they were going to put points up on the board regardless of the fact. And that's exactly what they did. They didn't punt the freaking football. They haven't punted the football in 2 games.
2 weeks.
Crazy.
Since November 30th.
Crazy.
Absolutely insane. But I think it's very uncomfortable to see one side of your team, one unit, be a clear weak spot. And the defense is, right? It is. But I do still feel like you can win with the defense. It's not ideal because it's not
for sure.
It's not matching the level I think it needs to be for the 49ers to be considered this juggernaut team that are Super Bowl favorites. Otherwise, they would be Super Bowl favorites, right?
Yep.
But it is enough to win because the 49ers do have a pretty good special teams this year that's gotten better as the season has gone on. Eddie P almost made that 64-yard field goal before halftime.
I thought he had it. I was like, it's good.
If it was 63 yards, he would have had it. But that's fun. So there's other ways I think this 49ers team can still win games. But I do think, like as Benali is saying here, selling out to stop the run works when you're playing up against a Phillip Rivers. But Caleb Williams and Sam Darnold in the next 2 weeks going to present, for sure, a bigger challenge. Now, Caleb Williams is not like an elite quarterback either. He has some faults. He's very talented, but there are some mistakes in his game as well. He's still really young. Still kind of figuring that offense as he goes, as well as the rest of that Bears offense is too, but their run game is strong. So I think that's a game where, again, I'd be comfortable with the 49ers selling out to stop the run as well and seeing what Caleb Williams could do and see if you could force him into mistakes. I don't know. Sam Darnold, I think the Seahawks have a good run game sometimes. Sometimes they don't. Like it's really, you don't know what version is going to show up that week, but we do know Sam Darnold has been playing, pretty well for much of this season. So these next 2 weeks are going to be a big challenge for this team. I think it's going to be the real litmus test of how this team is going to look once they get into some of these playoff games. But what I keep trying to emphasize to people is that if you look at the teams that are going into the playoffs, a lot of them aren't that scary. Like they're just as susceptible to being beat as the 49ers are, in my opinion, which means it's neutral. 49ers can win any of those games.
To me, there's like no, I would still put the Rams on that pedestal, even though like what happened in the Seattle game, like I think they're the most complete team in the NFC remaining. If I'm being honest, they do it They throw the ball well. They run the ball well. They play really strong defense. But you're right. Like Seattle, Chicago, like here's the good news, right? Like, is Chicago the game plan set? Like, just stop the run. Just stop the run. If Caleb Williams beats you, Caleb Williams beats you. Like, that's what it comes down to. And then you're probably going to have the same philosophy going against Seattle because, yeah, Sam Darnold's playing really good ball this year. Just look at their win-loss record, right? QB's a win. Wins are a QB stat, right, Steph? But, like, you know, there's still the knock on Sam. Like, Sam's going to do Sam things, just like Jimmy would do Jimmy things. Brock might do Brock things, right? So, like, that door is open, too, where they can make mistakes in big time. Like, I'm excited for these games. I think styles make fights. I think we actually match up really well with Chicago. I think we're going to be okay. You know, I'm more worried about the Seahawk matchup just because what it could potentially present. But the reality is like, I'm really excited for the Sunday. I think the biggest problem that you're facing is like an uneven playing field in terms of like rest and travel and like the advantage. You know, Chicago got done on Saturday. You know, what did San Francisco just get back this morning? You know, like, and then it's Christmas. Like, how much time you get in the film room? Like, those things matter in the NFL, but like, it's still an NFL. It's still a challenge. Like, this is how you know we know nothing about the National Football League, right? Like, and we talk about it all the time, but we know nothing. Like, the Seahawks were only able to – they have this great offense, right? And Sam Darnold's balling and doing that. They put 18 points up against the exact same defense that we just put 48 on.
It's a week-to-week league. It's crazy, right? I mean, so many examples.
That's the facts. Like, that's the absolute facts, right? But if I'm the 49ers, I'm Kyle Shanahan, I'm Robert Saleh, just focus on the Chicago Bears game. The game plan is Caleb Williams has to beat us. And if he does, so be it. He was the better man that day, but I want the ball in his hands as much as I possibly can.
Yeah, that's fair. And I think, you know, what Benali's saying too is totally fair. Like, expecting Brock to score 5 touchdowns every game, not sustainable, obviously, but you got other playmakers. You know, you got Christian McCaffrey too. I think the run blocking yesterday was some of the best I'd seen all season, and you know, McCaffrey's efficiency showed for it, right? So if that's something that's coming into form at this time, and if we could expect it to get better every week, like we're seeing Trent Williams, the 37-year-old tackle, get better each and every week, which is insane. Dominic Purdy, like for the last few weeks since he's gotten healthy after the bye week, like has looked, or even before the bye week, has looked great. I mean, it could do wonders. It could do wonders. So
it's not the best. It's not the best team that wins. It's the hottest team, right? And they're
so true.
They're the hottest. Show me a team that's hotter in the National Football League right now.
It's definitely up there. We're definitely up there. Like I said, I think it's fair for us fans to have concerns, but I think other teams or fans of other teams would look at the Niners and not want to play the Niners right now with how they're looking, especially having done that on Monday Night Football, primetime. Everybody was watching. I love that. I love that everyone got to see the show. But we did get an update from Jeremy Fowler regarding George Kittle. So he says that George Kittle is dealing with a mid to low ankle sprain. Kittle said after the game he believed he avoided a high ankle sprain. That is the case. So this is good news if you're a 49er fan, because a high ankle sprain, as we know, is a multi-week injury. You'd be week to week. But mid to low, potentially day to day. And I don't know if you remember this, Weston. I remember because I had Amon-Ra St. Brown on my fantasy team. But a couple of weeks ago, right, he had a low ankle sprain that he suffered in a game, and he played the following week. And I think it was even on a short week, if I'm not mistaken. It might have been that Thursday Night Football game from a few weeks ago. So he was able to come back. Now, every injury is different, you know, and this is a short week for the 49ers. You know, they played on Monday, playing on Sunday this upcoming week in week 17. But this is promising, at least. You're telling me there's a chance that George Kittle can play.
For sure. One thing I've learned about this team is I don't trust any injury news. But yeah, this is on the promising side for sure. But here's the reality of it. Like, look, these two games, are really more important for the fans than they are anything else. Like, this team knows they're in the playoffs, right? Like, I think it is increasingly more important to have as close to a healthy as George Kittle you possibly can in the games that really matter, right? Especially because everything in my gut says this team is like all in. Like, Christian McCaffrey might touch the ball 40 times on Sunday night. Like, he might, you know what I mean? And then another 40 times against Seattle. Like, I think they're at the point say that this is wide open. Let's do what we got to do. Let's push the chips in. And part of that equation right now with no Brandon Ayuk, with a banged up Ricky Pearsall, with all that stuff is like, you see how important George Kittle is to this offense, not just in the passing game, in the run game. And that's going to be the difference between his mid to low ankle versus Amaron is, George is asked to do a lot more in a football game than any wide receiver is asked to do. So, like, in this week, like, as much as I want the win, as much as I want George Kittle out there, and he probably will be, I mean, I'm approaching it like with caution, snap count, because here it's Jake Tonja's season. That boy can play football too. That boy can play football too. Like, don't sleep on him. He just happens to have the best in the league in front of him. I think if he's somewhere else, he's getting significantly a higher volume of snaps, more targets. Like, do you see that catch he made? That wasn't a catch.
That was a touchdown.
It was absolutely a touchdown, but officially, it's what I mean. It's second down, or whatever it was. But like, he can do things. Like, he's like George Kittle, like extra light. I don't want to put them like on the same pedestal, but like he's a willing blocker, right? Like, I'm okay with that. If his snap count needs to go up and Kittle's needs to come back down a little bit. So this is great news in terms of just like, okay, it's not high ankle, which means see you playoffs, buddy. You know what I mean? Even if you see him in that first round. So we'll go from here, see how it progresses throughout the week. Good news is he's going to get a lot of rest. The holidays right here. It's going to be elevated. It's going to be iced. It's going to be compressed. He'll probably sleep in Fred Warner's hyperbaric chamber a couple times, and we'll see what the recovery road looks like.
Yeah, and this is a good prediction from Benali. Benali, speaking of being on a heater, like you're here in the live chat on a heater right now. Your prediction: if Ricky can get back, George is out. If Ricky needs another week, Kittle active on a snap count. Yeah, that's a good point. That I think the expectation is that Ricky has a better chance of being available for this Week 17 game. In which case, if you got someone else coming back, maybe you feel okay with not risking George Kittle. But we shall see. I don't know if that's how teams make decisions, but it certainly would make sense to me. But we'll see the status on both of those guys.
Here's my hot take of the year, Steph. Benali is Kyle Shanahan's burner YouTube account. She's coming with fire right now.
Always in the live chat. Always welcome here. Always love it. All right, let's get to these nominations now for 49K Player of the Week for Week 16 against the Colts, Monday Night Football. All right, I don't want you to take the best one, Weston.
You go first.
You could just
okay. I won't take the obvious one. But it is part of the reason why I'm standing up, because I can't.
He's gonna be like jumping. Okay, but I don't want to start with the obvious one.
No, I'm not starting with the obvious one. I'll go first, and I won't take the obvious one.
Okay.
All right. It's Christian McCaffrey. How is it not Christian McCaffrey? 21 carries, 117 yards. 5.6 yards per carry. I'm going to venture to guess that's his highest average for the season. We know that he hit his season-long rush in this particular game, but he also caught another 6 passes. I know the yardage weren't much, 29 yards for 2 touchdowns. We say the same thing every week about Christian. He is the engine that makes this thing go. And he is their only chance at winning the Super Bowl this year on your home stadium. It's the man does not get tired. Like, he's like a responsible football player. Like, you literally see him be like, need one, and it's literally one snap. Like, and
he does that all
right
the time.
back in the next play. But Steph, for all the people that were like, hey, we haven't seen the big run, the 40, the 50, the 60-yard explosive. But I think that's more an indication of the team collectively than it is of Christian McCaffrey and his ability. He still is positive yards every time he touches the football. It still feels like, you know what I mean? Like on that 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4, you hand it to him. He's still falling forward over the line. And he had some longer chunk plays in this game where the legs look good, right? For somebody who's touched the ball as much as he has. And oh, by the way, he's also number 6 in the National Football League for receptions as a running back. Like, he is everything to this offense, and he just proves it week after week after week. I am so hopeful that he does the 1,000 for the second time to be the only player to ever do that in their career, because he is so deserving of that. But in this game, again, 2 receiving touchdowns, right? Like, that's what makes a red zone offense go. It's really, if you struggle to run the football, it's really hard to throw the ball into the end zone in the red zone when you just have all these players condensed into a shorter amount of field and yardage. And for him to, like, his just little option routes, like the linebackers don't stand a chance. Like, there's
money.
And you know what? Brock knows where he's going every time, it feels like, right? And puts the ball on the money. Christian McCaffrey, my God, what a blessing it's been to have him on this team. I hope we get to see him a little while longer. And I hope when he does go to Canton, he decides that he wants to do it with the team that he's had the most success with over the Carolina Panthers. Argue with your mother. It's Christian McCaffrey.
Actually, Weston, it wasn't his most efficient day on the ground. I thought it was as well after that game ended. But in week 11, I went back. I was on PFF, and week 11 against the Cardinals, he actually averaged 6.2 yards per carry. He didn't have as many carries that day. I think he had like 16 or something like that. It was a very low number. But
I'm going back. I'm looking.
13 carries. 13 carries for 81 yards.
Light day at the office for Christian McCaffrey.
So that was in week 11, averaged 6.2 yards per carry. Yesterday, he averaged 5.6. But I agree with you that it looked different. And the reason that it looked different is because I think we are kind of seeing the fresh legs that he has ever since the bye week. I think he has hit another gear. And I think also when you accompany that with the run blocking that I was talking about, he's getting these lanes and he knows what to do with it. That's all he needs, right? So him getting that 24-yard run, really, really great sign that hopefully there's more runs like this to come. And 117 rush yards, putting him over the 1,000 rush yards for the season, 151 receiving yards needed to accomplish the 1,000 receiving yards, or I guess you could say 152 because 151 would tie. Or no
matter.
151 would get 1,000. That's all you need. And so that would be the second time in his career that he would have a 1K season.
Nobody's ever done that.
No one's ever done that. That'd be historic. And I got to think and I got to hope that Kyle Shanahan has a plan.
Oh, he does.
Brock Purdy has a plan to get him that, because I would love nothing more than for him to accomplish that. What was the one it was the touchdowns, the consecutive games with the touchdown thing he was trying to get, and he didn't get it. But the 49ers really tried like hell to give it to him, and I just hope they treat this similarly. 151 receiving yards. Yeah, I mean, he's getting used a lot on those short yardage situations with option routes, as you mentioned, red zone situations. He's money there. But if you can get him a catch where he has the opportunity for some yak, or get him on a wheel route where, he can get some chunk yardage receiving, I think that's the way to go. Maybe we see that this week against the Bears.
I think you will. I think you'll see a forced effort. I think you'll see him more in the slot. I think you'll see some two-back, which you haven't really seen a lot of Robinson and McCaffrey on the field at the same time. Like, why not? To win these games, right? Like, these are good teams. These are good football teams you're going to play over the next 2 weeks. Kyle's got to be in his bag. And nobody's on a bigger heater right now than Kyle Shanahan. Let's be very clear about that. Like, I would expect, especially on the short week, Like I would expect some gimmicky stuff, all intended to get Christian to an attainable number in week 18 for that. Like I would Kyle Shanahan, just knowing Kyle Shanahan, how he favors certain players and the relationships he has with them, I assure you, this is top of mind for him right next to the win. Like, I'm not even exaggerating that. Right next to the win, it's important to him.
So 151 yards divided by 2 is 75 and a half. So if he just averages 75 and a half in these next 2 games,
you get him 90 this week, and then you make light work.
You could do it. It could totally be done, especially if you make it a concerted effort. But yes, Christian McCaffrey definitely deserving of.
Let's go back and look at it after the fact. I guarantee you, in every game that Christian McCaffrey's had at least 75 yards receiving, and he's had multiple of them, they've won. So why is that not a priority? You know what I mean? Like, it's a recipe for success. It's a proven formula. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not just saying this and speaking out of context to say, let's just get this guy this record. Like, it's part of the equation, right? And and more touches in the pass game is actually lighter work for a running back than it is toting the ball between the tackles.
For sure. Yeah, I'd like to see more Brian Robinson as well. So we'll see if maybe they balance that out in order to get McCaffrey running a little bit more routes. But all right, my next nominee here, I'm going to go with the obvious one now. It's going to be Brock Purdy, 295 passing yards, and that's like, you know, the day in the office for Brock. But this was probably the best Brock Purdy that we've seen. There's just like a little bit of everything. Like I think just where he's been since the bye week, for example, and since after the Panthers game, has just been on a completely different level. This is comparable, I think, to the efficiency of the 2023 Brock Purdy with the savvy of the 2025 Brock Purdy, right? Like he just, it's just I'm at a loss for words for what Brock Purdy's doing, which is crazy because like I think we were very disappointed at points last year, some games this year as well. We call it how we see it, and he's completely flipped the script. I don't know what switch turned on in his head, but yes, more of that. Keep the light on. His average depth of target yesterday, 10.6. 5 touchdown passes, which was, of course, as we know now, career high for him. 5 touchdown passes to 4 different receivers, and it was almost 5. We were robbed of 5 touchdown passes to 5 different receivers if the Dungeous one had just counted, or if the 49ers challenged. But I digress. Still great performance from Brock, and just still shows that he is using his entire arsenal. Like, remember at one point, Weston, that was kind of like, in addition to this narrative that Brock Purdy was just a dink and dunk sort of quarterback, which has since been very much, disputed. We're also seeing that maybe he can elevate this group, because everyone used to say as well, like, oh, he was so good just because of all the weapons that he had, and he still has weapons. Like, he still has McCaffrey, and he still has George Kittle. He's using other guys too, though. Demarcus Robinson had a touchdown. You're seeing Kendrick Bourne get catches out there. You know, you're seeing Sky Moore with a catch, even. You know, like, and that to me just shows this is a quarterback who can use everyone at his disposal, and that to me is a maturity from last year to this year, both for Purdy and I think Kyle Shanahan as well. But getting back to Purdy and focusing on him, his PFF grade for yesterday's game was a career high, 96.6. And not only was it a career high, but it was the highest grade of any quarterback in a game this season. So big props to Brock Purdy. Also completed a career high 12 passes that were 10 or more yards downfield, and so that's also he was slinging it, and some of those balls had some really nice zip, like the touchdown to Jennings.
That
had some that one was a touch pass. What was the one that was like
to Robinson?
Like a dart over the, I think it was that one.
Marcus Robinson.
That one was zipped. That one was zipped, but the one to Jennings was nice too, because that one had like really nice touch, only where Jennings could get it. Defender had no chance. It put it right on the spot. I think that's when I knew, like, every touchdown pass that he had was just like, oh, this guy's for real right now. He's for real.
It's, like confidence, momentum, all those things are scary and they matter in professional sports. And just take these last 2 weeks as an example, like, who's going to be more confident than 13, right? With like, he's feeling like everything that leaves his hands is gold, right? I agreed. I thought the pass to Demarcus Robinson was just money. It was just money, right? Like, I won't call it a dart, a laser, and it was just money. The one to Jawan Jennings, the two to McCaffrey, like even the one to Kittle, like that's Brock Purdy, right? Like that's what we all claim him to be, that finesse thrower of the football, very responsible with placement, accurate, right? Putting it to it. Like, look at that pass to Tonjes. Like, that's putting the ball to a spot and letting your players go make the play. Like, I mean, we saw that, what was it, 2 years ago to Ayuk, right? The one that he dropped in the back of the end zone. Like, it's that type of like pass on that type of play. And that's vintage Brock Purdy, where like now we can see maybe the toe's not bothering nearly as much, knock on wood, but like mobile, buying a little bit of time, hitting the scramble drill. These guys know and trust their quarterback. They know what spots to get to, and he's going to put the ball in that spot. And if they're playing that way, it's going to be hard to beat, Steph. It's really, because you're asking your defense a lot of your defense, right? Like, though I think the way you beat Brock is you get pressure in his face. You keep him in the pocket. You don't let him move, because he's really productive on the move, actually. Like, I'm surprised there's not more design boots and things of that nature, because I just think he throws a really nice football when he's on the go. My concern with Brock will always be my concern with Brock. Stop throwing the ball back over the middle when you are scrambling.
It worked,
in one
though.
direction. I don't care what level of football you play. That is like rule number one. Don't do that. You'll live with the result, but we're going to die with the result at one point too. But I mean, he played I know he's got the one blemish, the pick. Wasn't his best throw. Definitely hit his receiver right in the hands, right? So and then a fluky thing, it pops back up. That happens in the National Football League, and it was in inconsequential time. Like, at that point in time, I think the story had already been written on his game and his performance at that point, and he was phenomenal. He was phenomenal. You see, Steph, you were on Twitter today. Everybody, even the ones who poo-poo him, national media are like, this guy's top quarterback, one of the top quarterbacks in the league all of a sudden. It's like, really? Like, were you saying that 3 weeks ago after the Carolina game? No, you weren't. You know what I mean? Like, and that's how you know this league is week to week, right? And reactions are very knee-jerk, but it's what we've always seen is like when Brock's playing that brand of football, the 49ers are going to be really hard to beat, and he's really tough to stop. And I think, to me, the biggest compliment is the Trent Williams press conference, where he talks about like one guy with 10 grown men staring at him, commanding the huddle, and you can't fool 10 men. And we all believe him. And he's been this way since day one. Like, you got a good one. You know you got a good one. You might not have the greatest. You might not have the best in the league, but you definitely have one that, when he's playing well, can carry this football team and makes things like the number one seed or playing in the Super Bowl or whatever we want to hyperbole from here. Like, it makes it feel tangible. It makes it feel real, because he's playing that brand of ball right now. And again, it's not the best team. It's the hottest team. And what position matters more in professional sports than the quarterback? And he's playing his best. He's playing his best ball in a year and a half right now,
Yeah, I mean, Brock's definitely made of the right stuff, and something is just clicking for him right now. So let's keep it going.
Yeah,
all right,
sure.
Weston, who's your next nominee?
Yeah. This one for me is easy. I kind of wanted to lead with him, but I didn't. And it's George Kittle. Like we could say the same thing about George that we say about Christian McCaffrey. If I look at just the stats, 7 for 115, a touchdown. He had on 115 on 8 targets. It's what he does in the run game as well. Like Steph, he is. If you go back and watch some of these on the All 22. He is so phenomenal at getting to the second level, the linebacker, the safety who creeped up in the box, whoever it might be, and not missing that person, right? Like they're very evasive players, and he just got off a chipping responsibility, and he's migrating up. He's riding that chip, and this is why I'm standing, because I could not be talking about this. And he gets up, and he just his placement is like perfect. It is like textbook. It's what the offensive line, the best offensive linemen in the league are taught. And this is a guy who's also catching 7 balls for 115 yards and a touchdown. And I would tell you, George Kittle single-handedly changed the outcome of this game. And let me explain why. Brock's worst throw of the game was actually a completion that George Kittle made. I think it was on maybe their second possession. Yes. But if that's a turnover there, that ball could have just as easily been picked as it was caught. If Kittle doesn't make a spectacular catch and that ball's picked, there's no telling what the outcome of this game is, right? Like it's a momentum swing spot. It's a crush the quarterback's confidence spot. Like when you throw that ball, and it's caught, that's when you start believing like everything that leaves my hand is gold, right? Even when he gets freaking sacked and it lands in what's his face.
I know, that was insane.
It takes it around. Wow. And you start believing that the ball is bouncing in my favor, right? Like the football gods are behind me. I would argue that of all of George Kittle's catches, that was the most important one because I do firmly believe, and I know it's just a single play, but that just as easily could have changed the outcome of the game if that is intercepted, falls incomplete. I believe it was on 3rd down. I'd have to go back and check that for sure. It might have been 2nd down, but I wanted my gut wants to say 3rd down while the score was still tight, right? Like earlier in the game, and that could you don't want to give a guy like Phillip Rivers, who's the ultimate trash talker this sport has ever seen, without cursing, by the way. He is just ultimate. Like, you're not trying to give him that level of confidence, get the ball back, go down, put points up. You know what I mean? That sort of thing. But, yeah, George Kittle. You can never overstate how significant he is to this football team.
I think that was on their first drive, actually.
Was it their first drive? Yeah, so answer it, right? So what happens if that's picked, Steph, and they turn around and turn that into 3 or it's 14-0? We know this team is not built to come back from being down 14 points, right? Like Kyle Shanahan rarely accomplishes that feat. We got to play with the lead. Could have been a totally different outcome of this football game.
Yeah, and I give Kittle credit, like as what you're doing right now. I give Kittle credit for that catch because he came up for it basically, and that's why you throw the ball to Kittle, because he will get it. He will get it for you as long as it's within his catch radius. He's gonna find a way, right? So this is crazy, right? 7 catches and all 7 went for first downs. Yeah, that's a season high for him. He also had the touchdown as well. Average depth of target for him was 13.9, also a season high for him. So he was like that downfield threat for them and just Mr. Reliable as he always is. Purdy's passer rating when targeting Kittle yesterday was 158.3, which
perfect.
Last time I checked was perfect. Yeah.
Perfect. Let's not overthink this. It's a really simple equation to win in the football in the National Football League. Give your best players the ball.
Every time. Like, I don't care who George Kittle is going up against. I want him targeted like every time. It would be a good decision. Like, I don't even care. Highest graded game for him all season as well, 94.8. So it's a bummer that he went out early because I think he could have had an even bigger game. I mean, we know he could have and would have. So, but we digress. I mean, still a nominee-worthy performance from George Kittle. And do you have any others to nominate today?
Okay. Nope. It's going to be a common theme for the rest of the season. It's going to be talking about the
The big
offense.
three.
Yeah, the
The
big
big
three.
three. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure last week it was the same three.
yep, for
That we
sure.
nominated, and Trent last week.
Yeah.
But all right. So for anyone tuning in with us live, we've got the names up on the screen that we're nominating for 49K Player of the Week for Week 16 against the Colts. We got Christian McCaffrey. We got Brock Purdy. We got George Kittle. If you're in the live chat, whether it's Twitter, whether it's YouTube, make sure you drop a comment. We'll add up the votes, and we'll tell you here shortly who becomes 49K Player of the Week. In the meantime, we got some flowers to
Yeah,
give
we
because
do.
it wasn't just about these three here. Weston, I'm gonna just really quickly say that I want to give some flowers to the defensive rookies
For
because
sure.
I think they all kind of had strong games. Upton
Yeah.
Stout, I think this was maybe his best, if not his best game of the season. I think he's really coming into his own. There's someone who continues to improve. CJ West getting his first sack, we got to celebrate that for the young man.
He was so
And the way
excited.
he did it, too, like that
Yeah.
was a grown man sack, Weston,
Yeah.
like
Yeah, it was.
splitting two offensive linemen, the double team, just strength. Pure
Yeah.
strength. Love to see that for him. And Alfred Collins, who, every now and again is getting some key plays for this team, with another one with the fumble that, while it wasn't recovered by the 49ers, did put the Colts 7 yards back, right? And
Yeah.
that ended up working favorably for them on that drive. The Colts ended up, I think, having a punt on that one. So huge contributions, I think. And while you look at the grand scheme of the defense and you could be a little bit worried, I still look to some of these guys and these defensive rookies with a lot of excitement about what's to come for them.
Well, Steph, the year was all about the overhaul on defense and the youth movement, and they're doing it all by losing the two veterans that were supposed to keep this stable, nice and tight and ready to ball. I just loved CJ West's game. I just can't wait to see more from him. I think he's going to be a player in this league for a long, long time because he does dirty work, right? He eats double teams. He does all those things. Clearly, PFF saw finally what I have been seeing from his, even in limited snap counts. What did they give him? Like a 9? What was his PFF grade? I'll bring it up. 90.9 for a defensive tackle in this game. Like, damn right. Like, that's what I've been seeing for the last few weeks from CJ West. And he finally gets the statistical accolade to back it up and get the sack and do those things while he's doing the dirty work. So I agree. I thought Upton Stout had one of his better games. I think Alfred Collins continues to just ascend. And I think CJ West continues to ascend. I mean, if I'm sticking with flowers, I'm staying on the defensive side of the ball. I'm going to Malik Mustafa. Here's the thing, Steph. Like, next year, priority number one is you got to find a safety that can play opposite of this guy, right? Like, I like Jair. I think Jair plays really well, like close to the line of scrimmage, but I think that's redundant to what Malik Mustafa does. They need somebody who's a little bit more consistent in coverage. But my goodness, he is as sure of a tackler as you can see, and he's another one weak. This guy had an ACL, right? Like, let's not forget that. And he's like on the field now, whether it was repaired or not, and he's getting his legs back underneath him. I feel like I'm seeing progression from him week after week after week after week. He had one play, it was early in the game, where he made an open field tackle. I think it was on Jonathan Taylor on a screen pass where it was just him. And if he doesn't make that tackle and rip him back, like, Jonathan Taylor might still be running at this point in time. If he doesn't do that, that's a lot to ask from a second-year player against a player of that caliber. He really has all the makings to be a special player in the National Football League.
Yeah, the more reps he gets, the better he's getting. So, yeah, I'd love to see that from Mustafa. as well. And, you guys in the chat are bringing up some good names. Jennings for sure has had some good contributions the last few weeks too. Loved the Grinch move where he was handing that football to that woman and pulled it right back.
Yep.
She wasn't wearing any Niners gear. That's what happens. D. Winters, who had the pick 6 to basically seal this game. Love to see that. First career interception too. So, and who would have thought, like, in some years from now, we're going to look back and we're going to be like, D. Winters' first interception was on Phillip Rivers.
I know.
And your timelines are going to be kind of messed up for a bit, and you're going to be like, wait, how is that?
Yeah,
How is that possible? And then
sure.
we'll remember the few weeks that Phillip Rivers came back.
That's right. Honestly, I'll say this, Steph. The National Football League is better when Phillip Rivers is playing. He's just like an all-time guy, just an all-time, like, anybody who has not, I encourage you just to listen to his press conferences. If you want to learn more about the sport, you will learn everything you need to from this guy and how meticulous you need to be, not just at the quarterback position, at every position. He's just phenomenal for the brand. He's phenomenal for the game. And I'm glad we beat him. I don't know what else to say, but I know he will not be back after next year, but like, what a story he gets to go tell the high school kids that he coaches that are like watching him ball right now.
Yeah, it was cool.
But just another stamp on, in my opinion, what is absolutely, without the championship, still a Hall of Fame career the way he played.
Yeah, agree. Yeah, got to give him some credit for what he's still doing out there. I mean, obviously, his experience and his knowledge has taken him really far right now, and speaks to that. So, all right, Weston, because I do have to get out of here in a bit. Let's just vote for 49K Player of the Week. Who do you got?
It's Brock Purdy.
Me as well. So your Week 16 49K Player of the Week is Brock Purdy with that career high 5 touchdown performance. Not sure when we'll see that from Brock again, quite frankly, but that was an all-timer from him. We
haven't seen it in 30-something years from any 49er quarterback. So
literally, yes, literally. It's not easy to come by for the 49ers, apparently, but yeah, good to see it with my own 2 eyes for the team that I'm watching, because I don't think I watched the last time that a 49ers quarterback had 5 touchdowns. But all right. That's going to do it for today. Make sure you guys like this video if you haven't yet. Appreciate all of you that were in the live chat today, especially on this holiday week. Appreciate all of you taking the time. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, not just mine, but Weston's as well. Island 49. Check that out. Hit that notification bell so you know when I go live. Probably will be live again on Friday, for the preview show that we've got going on. Previewing that Bears game, but going to enjoy the rest of this week with friends, family, football, and I hope you guys can all do the same as well. Weston, thank you so much, and happy holidays to you and your family too, and have a good rest of your Tuesday and a good rest of your week, folks. Peace.
Merry Christmas, y'all.
Merry Christmas.